Welcome to the Introverted Influencer Podcast. I'm your host, Erica Van Slyke. My soul's mission on this planet is to help fellow introverts grow their online influence in a state of feminine flow and ease. While battling the woes of depression, anxiety, and even mom guilt, I've somehow managed to build a six-figure blog without the use of social media and without sacrificing my mental health. If I can do it, you can too. Hello, sunshine. Welcome to episode 54 of the Introverted Influencer Podcast. And it's kind of ironic that I just said sunshine. I think that's wishful thinking because it is pouring down rain. You might even hear it in the background today as I record. Today, I was compelled to discuss the dangers of putting your manifestations on a pedestal, putting your goals on a pedestal, maybe even putting a person, a romantic relationship you would like, on a pedestal, making it too important. And this idea came to me. I don't know if you've been kind of following along over the past episodes, but a few episodes back, I had mentioned that at the beginning of the year, I was taking part in a manifestation challenge in a group. It's called, the type of manifestation technique is called neural manifestation. So there's actual neuroscience behind this particular manifestation technique that I practice. And it's not just woo, even though I'm totally down with the woo, but there's a lot of science backing this. And so much of it is about neuroplasticity and addressing the subconscious, because that is primarily what we act out of and what we manifest from is our subconscious, not our conscious brain. And I was looking back at my journal where I had listed down at the very beginning of the year many manifestations that I wanted to come in, like ones that weren't as big of a deal to me. Take, for instance, there were these beautiful designer sconces that I had lusted after for all summer long, but they were an insane cost. Definitely not in the budget. So I put finding these kind of like a knockoff version of these sconces down for under a certain amount. I'd put down a certain pair of jeans that I really wanted, but I wanted to find them on sale. And just several little not big deal sort of items. And then I also put down a list of major manifestations. If you've been following along with my journey, you know that my business was hit with a Pinterest algorithm update that took 40% of my traffic. So supplementing that lost traffic, that lost exposure on that platform, either with maybe Pinterest deciding they love me again or by another means, that was also on my list. And so what happened, that was my major manifestation list. So what happened last weekend, y'all, I woke up to check my analytics to my website. And I was like, holy shit, is this a mistake? I could not believe my eyes. Something had obviously gone incredibly viral on my blog. It was a new blog post. And it's my jaw just dropped when I saw the earnings for the day, everything. And I was like, yay. Well, okay, first of all, I was like, what in the world? Is this a mistake? How did this happen? And then number two, I was like, oh my God, like my manifestation is here times two. Oh my gosh, this stuff actually works. Then what's crazy though, another thought came in of, I'm so afraid this won't last, or will this last, or is this too good to be true? So that was still that subconscious fear and block rearing its ugly head. So that was a really interesting experience. And much to my disappointment, after 3 days, the traffic of that viral post kind of fizzled down, and it was kind of a short-lived manifestation for me. And so then it got me kind of bummed, like, ugh, I knew it was too good to be true, or what am I doing wrong? There's still something there. Why am I not connecting to that really big manifestation that I want? And so then I was prompted to kind of give myself a morale boost. I just had this download to go look back at my journal from the beginning of the year, to look at my entire manifestation list. And when I was looking at my many manifestations on the list, it was crazy because basically it was like, check, got this, got that, this came through, that came through. But I've been so focused on that larger manifestation that I was not even aware or grateful of the fact that basically all of my smaller manifestations have already come through, and it's only March. And so that leads me to what I feel called to present to you as this week's message. And that is, don't fall into the pit traps of putting any sort of manifestation on a pedestal. There are multiple ways this can mind fuck you. So, number one, there's a desperation, underlying desperation that's associated with your vibe when you make anything too important. And the universe is repelled by that desperate energy. And not only is the universe, but just think, have you ever had someone that's maybe come on to you too strong? They're a little desperate and you're like, nah, not for me. It's the same way when you come at the universe with that desperate energy. Another pitfall of this desperation is that in order to get what you want, you might manipulate, you might violate your own code of ethics. People do it every day, lie, cheat, and steal to get what they want. Or you might go at it in a way that will ultimately lead you to burnout, and will, once you get there, you've worked so hard, you've burnt yourself out so much, you haven't enjoyed life on the way to the destination, that once you get it, you're like, really? Is that all there is? And then it doesn't even feel sustainable. I don't know if you can hear my dogs. I hope you can't. I'm trying to just go with the flow, y'all. Please forgive my dogs if you hear them. They won't shut up. So what's the point in getting your manifestation if what you had to do to get there made you miserable or made you a shitty person, right? That's no good. You're not going to want your manifestation if you've got to be miserable in order to get it and maintain it. So that is a pitfall of making something too important. Something else I think we get so blinded in our passion for something that we we think that once we get the manifestation, that it's somehow going to complete us. It's like this external stamp of approval because inside we feel we are not enough. We are not good enough. Even if consciously you can say, no, I love myself. I think I'm great. Something deep down, there's some wound there that makes us believe in order to feel complete, we've got to have that thing come through, that goal manifest in physical form. And I can actually reflect back on this in the early days of the blog, and I felt like so many people didn't get it and weren't supportive and were kind of patronizing, like, oh, how cute. You've got a little hobby. And so for me, I thought that when I got a major feature in a publication, that would somehow validate me. And what's crazy is once I did get the feature, it was Better Homes and Gardens back in 2017. I'll never forget. It was kind of a process because the editor came to me and told me, okay, we think you're going to get like a 2-3 page feature in the June issue, but sometimes it can get cut at the very last minute. Like if we don't have enough space for all of our advertisers, like sometimes features get cut. So I'd had the photos done and the interview, and I knew the project that they were going to share. And I had gone back and forth with the editor, but she's like, okay, it's all been sent to publishing. But there was like a 2-month phase where we didn't know if it was going to make the final cut. And so at that point, there was this, oh my gosh, it can't get cut. It can't get cut. I need this kind of energy behind it. And then when it finally did go through and I got to hold it in my hands, the first thought was, oh, this is awesome. Like I'm finally getting some traction with this side hustle of mine. But the second thought that creeped in was, this was a fluke. Like, this was maybe the editor for some reason just felt sorry for me and wanted to give this feature to me because she felt sorry for me. I mean, how sad is that? There was some wound deep within me that still didn't believe I was even worthy of that manifestation deep down. And so what I learned from that experience was, yeah, the thing can come through. You can get the external accolades and validation, and you can still not feel 100% worthy or good with yourself. And then it becomes like this, like ravenous monster. And so right after that feature, it was like, okay, now I've got Better Homes and Gardens under my belt. Now I want Domino, or now I want Southern Living. But it was, it's kind of, I think that's kind of a stereotype with certain people who make it big in their careers, or people who become famous and then form like addictions and kind of fall from grace. It's just the fact that they were not good with themselves. And so to fill their cup, to supplement the love they can't give themselves, the validation they can't give themselves, they need it externally. So that's another pitfall. I wish I could come up with another word besides pitfall. I'm sorry, I keep using that word. I've got mom brain and the dogs barking in the background do not help my concentration. But anyhow, so that's something else to watch out for when you feel like, if if this will just come through, then I'll feel better about myself, because that's a lie. You got to be good with you, boo. And then anything else that comes is just like icing on the cake. But I promise you, speaking from experience, it won't fill the void you can't fill for yourself. Then this kind of ties in with last week's episode, actually. If you haven't listened to that, I was discussing this but first phenomenon of so many of us delay living the lives we want to have, or going after what we really want, because we kind of bullshit ourselves and say, but first, before I can start that podcast, I've got to get, however many Instagram followers or however many email subscribers before I can start the podcast. Oh, I'll speak up at that next board meeting, but first I've got to gain some more confidence. It just doesn't work like that. The whole but first. And we do that in a different sort of fashion when we say, okay, I'll start being more lighthearted. I'll start laughing more, taking more vacations, enjoying life, playing with my kids more, just seeing the simple beauty in the mundane when that manifestation comes through. And so what we're doing is we're essentially putting our lives on hold. We're doing but first to our everyday existence. It's, I hate to break it to you, but like your dream house, even once that manifests, even once you manifest that viral post or that next client that seems so important to your business, what's going to happen is either a few things. You'll probably be like, your gut reaction will first be, woohoo, I've done the thing, this is awesome. But then when you have unresolved issues, unresolved wounds lurking in that subconscious of yours, you're going to question if you really deserve it. You are going to perhaps worry, what if this doesn't last? What if I lose this? Or number 3, it's going to be like, okay, that was cool. I checked that off my list. What's next? So, and let's not sit and beat ourselves up for our human tendencies of the what's next, or even a fear of losing something that we have wanted to manifest so very badly. That is just the way our reptilian brains are wired, our limbic system and our ego. It is constantly looking for potential threats to keep us alive. So part of that is just our humanness, okay? But in the same sense, we have got to learn how to enjoy the more subtle moments in between our accomplishments. And those, because that's the majority of what our life is anyhow, right? It's really the smaller, more mundane, not as glamorous, not Instagram worthy sort of moments that make up the majority of our lives. And so I think the best way to harness that is through mindfulness, learning how to find pleasure in the simple. For me, that is especially nature. Sunshine. Oh my God. Sunshine is the best free self-care modality out there, or for me at least. It instantly boosts my mood. Oh, and the fresh air. Sometimes it's a good meal, and it doesn't have to be a fancy gourmet meal. It could maybe just be some comfort food you've whipped up in the kitchen and just savoring it. Or maybe just watching a funny television show and just laughing your ass off. And whatever way you choose to really start relishing those, I want to call them the in-between moments. However you choose to do that, what's going to happen is that this is the irony. It's like the chicken or the egg. Those manifestations will come through so much faster. And circling back to those mini manifestations that I was like, holy hell. Like pretty much all of those mini manifestations came through, but I was so obsessed with the big ones that I didn't even notice. So that act of gratitude, do you think that the universe wants to continue to bless you if you can't even appreciate what the hell you have right in front of you? You've got to be a good steward of what's been given to you already. And with that being said, I lost my train of thought, but chicken or the egg. When I look back on manifestations that have come through with ease, it's because I was good if they came or if they didn't come. I didn't put too much importance. It was more of the energetic of it for me was, wouldn't it be cool if? Wouldn't it be cool if da-da-da-da-da? Wouldn't it be cool if I could find those really expensive designer sconces, like knockoff for under $50? That'd be cool. And then it came through. Not the energy of, oh my God, I have to have this. If I don't, my life is not complete. I'm not complete. I am not safe. You see the distinction? So if you're like me and you find yourself in that in-between space, the slower, less exciting, less glamorous, less sexy season of life, use this time right now to cultivate gratitude for what you already have and for what has already come through. Cultivate unconditional love for yourself. Cultivate an unshakable sense of well-being that you can do by working on regulating your nervous system through simple self-care, breathing, nature, yoga, hypnosis, meditation. And use this time as well to get super specific. Get down to the root of why you want that thing you want and extrapolate the feeling you're assuming it's going to give you and find ways to engage with that feeling without that thing having to come through. There, like I said, if you're wanting perhaps more luxury in your life, well, luxury means different things to different people. right? It doesn't mean designer bags and designer cars, or designer cars, luxury cars to everyone. What is luxury to you? For me, it's a lot of, it has to do with self-care and freedom. So what are other ways that I can give those things to myself that don't require an ungodly amount of money? Oh, well, I can take a walk in nature, or I can get my ass out in the sunshine and breathe and walk away from my work long enough to not feel like a slave so that I can feel a little more free. Give myself a day off. I don't need that manifestation to come through to give me the root feeling that I'm assuming it's going to bring me when the thing really does happen. And also just realize that a lot of times these are beautiful moments that you're developing your character. You're learning the lesson required to get to the next level. And if you weren't to learn that, you might be like screwed when the manifestation does come through if you get it prematurely. And we can look to like celebrities that is a great example. Celebrities, especially, like, it's sad, but like child stars that made it too big before they actually had the opportunity to cultivate this unshakable self-love and confidence from within. They never had the time to do that. They were forced into the public, and they never knew how to go through life without others' approval and all these major accolades. And look what happened to many of them. They lost it and they were miserable. And a lot of them, got thrown into rehab and became drug addicts. It wasn't good. Like, sometimes you think you want something, but you're not ready for it yet, is, I guess, essentially what I'm saying. And then when the thing does come through, when you're already complete within yourself, think about how much sweeter it's going to taste, how much more fulfilling it'll be when you do have it. So I believe in you. I know it'll come for you. I know it's going to come for me, but I'm not going to waste this precious time in between either. And with all that being said, I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. I'm sending you so much love and good vibes, and I will talk to you next week. Thank you so much for stopping by this week. I make no money from this show. Actually, it costs me money to produce and host. So the best way you can show your support for this passion project of mine is by leaving the show a 5-star written review on Apple. Also, if you would like to contribute monetarily to the show, you can leave a tip in my digital tip jar, which I have the link in the show notes. You can always share it with a friend who you think could benefit from the message, or even better, you can take a screenshot of this episode, upload it to your Instagram